So, did you catch the president's VA presser this morning? It showcased the new health care system for veterans, which makes it easier to receive care from far away. Behold.
I understand there might be some area of concern on Mr. Amisqua's skin. Can we take a look at that, please?
Yes, sir. Dr. Shulkin, this is the area that is of concern.
Okay. I can take a look at that area, and if I have any concern about it, we can send this to a specialist, or we can take a look at it. Dr. Watts is a specialist, an internal medicine specialist in Cleveland, Oregon, and she is now connected in with Mr. Amisqua in Grants Pass, Oregon. So we can get the expertise from anywhere in the country.
It looked pretty good to me. What do I know? Right? Please make sure his skin is perfect, okay? Perfect.
So, in the middle of leaks, and more leaks, we overlook a pretty big deal. What you just saw may actually be the future of healthcare, the solution to rising costs and limited access. Diagnosis done remotely, no barriers to treatment, thanks to technology. Right. Now a patient can be seen no matter where they are. It's cheap, it's user-friendly. Isn't that what we all want? How cool would it be if the VA actually became the model for the rest of us? Right now, Stanford researchers just trained a computer to diagnose skin cancer. It's as accurate as 21 dermatologists combined. It's crazy. So tech isn't just about the device, but its scope, where great quantities of data are gathered fast, then sifted. Diagnosing a mole among thousands is now no different than a GPS software finding the best street to take home. So once again, we see how innovation solves what politicians can't. No bureaucrat came up with this stuff. It's the lesson from Obamacare. Politicians can't fix anything. Instead, their definition of fixing is making something permanently broken. Asking them to fix healthcare is like handing a blender to a fish and saying, make me a daiquiri. So we got to get health care away from bureaucrats and into the hands of innovators and brainiacs who know how to solve things. They have the minds and the machines. All we need from politicians is their absence. So this is like some amazing stuff, Kimberly.
Yeah.
And it's not developed by politicians. Isn't the direction here, like, let these people take care of the problem?
Absolutely. Well, and I'm not excited about this. I think it's fantastic, the future of medicine, and to make it more accessible, to keep people, increase wellness and health and early detection and prevention. So I'm all for this. I mean, let me tell you something. The hours I've spent with mole mapping on my body. And, you got to be naked, and they take pictures of every single one of them, and then they compare the old pictures.
You got to make sure he's a doctor first.
That's the problem, Greg. Wait a second. Where did you go to school again?
You just go to the costume shop. It's that easy, and you're a doctor.
But now they can have it all on the computer and detect maybe the slightest variation, which then can save a life. And we all know how dangerous skin cancer and melanoma can be. So I think it's fantastic, fascinating development.
It's amazing technology, Jesse, and this could be the model experiment to use to make everything cheaper.
Greg's been talking for 10 years about how robots and technology are going to take over and kill us. Now he wants to use robots and technology to save us.
Now he loves
I'll let you guys
I'm
think
a
about
hypocrite.
that. No, we have 21st century problems and we're using 19th century solutions. Here's how the swamp works. There's a problem, and a bunch of staffers for politicians get together and they do a research paper. The lobbyists swoop in at the end and they write the bill. The politicians pat themselves on the back and go out for drinks. 10 years later, the problem's worse. And it's like rinse, wash, repeat. Instead, throw it through an algorithm, bring a Silicon Valley guy into the mix. He'll figure it out, give the politicians a few options. They vote on the cheapest, most efficient one, and that's it.
Yeah. Well, Dana, Scott Adams has been talking about this a lot. I bring him up. He's been on Tucker a couple of times. It's about taking it out of the hands of the bureaucrats, putting it in the hands of the innovators.
Well, there's a good reason to do that, too. One of the things that's been happening for a couple of decades, maybe longer, is that the Department of Defense and the Veterans Affairs Administration cannot share medical records because there's technology problems, there's software problems, and there's huge bureaucratic problems. And it's something that has bedeviled every administration. Forgive me if that's actually been solved. I don't believe it has. So something like this actually just leapfrogs over that bureaucratic problem to get to a solution. The other thing is it's a good reason for the president to try to pass tax reform, because a corporate tax cut would mean more research dollars available for more innovations like this. And the third thing is America leads the world in health diplomacy. So technology like that is actually used on Mercy ships as well. So when I was there in Benin, there are doctors there on the ships that are performing really difficult surgeries. Sometimes they have a question. They can call up through Skype or whatever to a surgeon at Harvard and say, can you help me with this? And it actually works. So we actually could help save a lot of lives all around the world, too.
You know, Juan, when you look at something like this, you see, wow, what a difference from the Obamacare website rollout.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Remember that? Huh?
What about this idea, though, Greg?
That was brutal.
David Shulkin, the guy in the doctor's jacket there, guess what?
What?
He was held over from the Obama administration. Oh, and so he comes up with this idea.
What does that mean, though?
Oh, he said bureaucrats can't come up with these ideas. We have to go to the internet. In fact,
no,
Shulkin is the guy that's put this in place as a bureaucrat. And you know what else?
How long did it take? It took 6 months under Trump.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
It took 6 months under Trump.
You know what?
It took, 8 years under Obama?
There's no embarrassing you. There's none. There's none. But
that was your point.
Not when you're close in facts.
When you have something like this, I think all Americans think, oh, this is good. And it's a model for the rest of the healthcare system. And it just reminds me of the point that if you ask Americans, especially veterans, what about the VA medical system, it gets higher ratings than the private healthcare system. And yet nobody says, you know what, we are lucky to have the VA system in this country. One final point, when people are asked, who do you trust more to handle health care? Not Republicans, it's Democrats. And now we're at the point where a majority of Americans say we want single-payer health care in this country.
Well, the last time the Democrats handled the VA, vets were dying in secret wait lines while bureaucrats were getting bonuses.
That's actually factual.
I think those numbers are going to change.